Should we be worried about increasing solar activity? Michio Kaku is here with one of, well, he's obviously the professor. We all know him of theoretical physics. He's also the host of the sci-fi science show on the Science Channel, which is based on his book, Physics of the Impossible. Professor, should we be worried about these flare-ups, or, you know, when talking about this morning, we all kind of agreed it has that Y2K feeling, like it could happen. But if it doesn't, we're going to spend a lot of money for nothing.
Well, we had a wake-up call just 2 weeks ago. Giant auroras, northern lights as far as Michigan and Wisconsin. And that's a warm-up for 2012, 2013, when we hit the sunspot cycle. Every 11 years, the North Pole and the South Pole of the sun flip, releasing a burst of radiation. But every 100 years or so, a monster tsunami from the sun emerges, which could literally cause trillions of dollars in property damage.
2012, that's a presidential election year. We need to keep that in mind.
It became clear to me eventually that the sun gods must have been sun gods for a reason. They were called sun gods in all these civilizations, just the same. Well, if the universe is different scales black holes, then in order for these sun gods to travel through space from one side of the galaxy to the other, they would have to enter the wormhole, the singularity at the center of those black holes. So they would use stars as gateways to go from one side of the galaxy to the other. And then you would expect them to be called sun gods. That is why, for instance, the ancient tradition in most of these countries talks about the sun as the doorway to the higher realm where the sun gods come from. They talk about the black hole at the center of our galaxy as the hub, the central sun, from which you can access all of the stars in the galaxy. So you would enter the sun and then through to the galactic center, out one of the arms of the galaxy, out one of the sun in another arm of the galaxy.
Living spoken language in more than 1,000 years. I mean, look at this. It says, a traveler from distant stars escaped from a dying world looking for a way to extend his own life. His body decaying and weak, he couldn't prevent his own demise. Apparently his whole species was becoming extinct. So he traveled or searched the galaxies looking for a way to cheat death. And, look here. He came to a world rich with life, where he encountered a primitive race, humans. A species which, with all his powers and knowledge, he could maintain indefinitely. He realized within a human body he had a chance for a new life. Now, he apparently found a young boy. It says, as the frightened villagers ran, night became day. Curious and without fear, he walked towards the light. Ra took him and possessed his body like some kind of a parasite looking for a host. And inhabiting this human form, he appointed himself ruler. He used the Stargate to bring thousands of people here to this planet as workers for the mines. Just like the one we saw. This mineral is clearly the building block of all his technology. With this, he can sustain eternal life. Now, something happened, where is it, back on Earth, a rebellion or uprising, and the Stargate was buried there. Fearful of a rebellion here, Ra outlawed reading and writing. He didn't want the people to remember the truth.
Jackson.
This is the sun as it looks normally. On the sun appears sunspots. These are sunspots. Actually, there are sunspots seen at the X-ray range level. So they appear very bright. Actually, sunspots in the optical spectrum are very dark. They're like black. Well, they appear when the sun becomes very active at 19.47 latitude north and south. Okay? And when you look at the sunspot carefully, and I picked this one because I believe that sunspots are at the heart of the matter. When you look at it carefully, you can see that the fire is being sucked in. That's what made me think, actually, from my calculation and from my theory and all this, that the sunspot on the sun are not surface events, but they're huge vortices going to the middle of the sun. The other reason, can you see the fire being sucked in here? I got in a lot of trouble for saying that. Because they said, no, it's just surface event. And I said, well, if it's just surface event, how come if you look at the sunspots on the sun, they always occur in opposite polar. See? This one here got an opposite one there. These three there have an opposite three there. You see? All the sunspot occurs in opposition to each other, because when you have a vortex going one way in the Coriolis effect, you have another one going the other way on the other side. And they generate a link at the middle, a link at singularity. Sunspots are huge vortices going towards singularity at the center of the black hole. And that's why when you look at sunspots very carefully, you see fire being sucked in. The sunspots are actually break through the event horizon of the black hole of the sun, where you can actually see the collapsing black hole pulling the electromagnetic field in. Now, so they started to see now that the sunspot, which some of them are like 14 times the size of the Earth, okay, are huge vortices going towards the middle. And when they talk about material being spit out of the sunspot, you guys know what material that is? Water. Large amount of water comes out of sunspots on the sun, right beside the fire.
Is that their conclusion?
No, that's measurements. Pardon me?
Is that their conclusion?
That's their measurements of the material that's coming out, mostly water. Well, steam, you know, H2O. Yeah, it's spectroscopy. But then, you know, so then I was thinking about that. I'm like, huh. Okay, well, you know, if you were to travel through the universe, and everything in the universe is a singularity, then you could, you know, build a ship that's able to go inside a singularity. That ship would have to have a drive at its center that's a singularity itself. Okay? And you could enter a local singularity, and because you're in singularity, connected to all things, you could come out anywhere you want, anywhere else in the universe. And you could actually follow a linear progression of that travel. Although it would only take seconds for you to go across the galaxy, you would still go through the singularity of the sun, through the singularity of the hub, and then out to another singularity that would be a solar system in some other corners of the galaxy. You could even go from the hub to another galaxy hub and then come out wherever you want there. You guys are following this?
No.
Okay. Now, if you think of it this way, then it's like, okay, well, we should be able to see these guys coming in and out. So I started to investigate this, and I found something very bizarre. I found that most of the telescope and probes that observe the sun are owned by no one else but the Vatican. The Vatican. And I was thinking, well, that is strange. What does the Vatican want with the sun?
Inside the matrix, they are everyone, and they are no one. We have survived by hiding from them, by running from them. But they are the gatekeepers. They are guarding all the doors, they are holding all the keys, which means that sooner or later, someone is going to have to fight them. Someone. I won't lie to you, Neil. Every single man or woman who has stood their ground, everyone who has fought an agent has died. But where they have failed, you will succeed. Why? I've seen an agent punch through a concrete wall. Men have emptied entire clips at them and hit nothing but air. Yet their strength and their speed are still based in a world that is built on rules. Because of that, they will never be as strong or as fast as you can be.